Hey, welcome to EPN. My name is Victor Lucas, and we bring you the latest in everything cool every single day, thanks in a large part to our pals at the VFS School of Game Design. Thank you so much, Vancouver Film School. Now, this rundown is dedicated to Dan Wright, who says, "Hey, Vic, anyone ever told you look like Rick Astley? Never gonna give you up. Never gonna..." Okay, that's enough. This rundown's all yours, Dan. Nintendo is doing something shocking. They're gonna let people buy one of their most popular products. Crazy, right? The gaming giant is bringing back the NES Classic. In a surprise announcement, Nintendo says they'll begin manufacturing new units of the tiny retro console and start shipping them to stores sometime in 2018, although they haven't revealed a more precise launch window. This is already pleasing fans all over the world following the disastrous initial rollout of the system. The NES Classic was first released last year, but thanks to the fact that Nintendo greatly underestimated the demand, it was sold out everywhere and downright impossible to find. If that wasn't bad enough, instead of increasing supplies, Nintendo abruptly discontinued the device earlier this year, meaning that everyone who didn't buy it would never be able to. Until now. The new version of the system that's coming in 2018 looks exactly like the original, and it will have all the same games, configurations, and price, although we're hoping that Nintendo will make the notoriously short controller cables a little longer this time around. We'll let you know when more details come in. That's not the only good news from Nintendo. Alongside today's announcement about the NES Classic, Nintendo has once again vowed to increase their manufacturing output of the NES Classic successor, the SNES Classic. They've now revealed that more units of the SNES Classic will ship to stores on launch day than were shipped during the entire run of the NES Classic, which sounds like a lot. They also promised that subsequent shipments will arrive in stores regularly, so if you don't get one at first, you don't have to worry about Nintendo abruptly discontinuing it on you. This is good news for those of us who tried to pre-order the system only to have it sell out in mere seconds. So why is Nintendo doing all this? They say that the increase in NES and SNES Classics is a direct result of the unbridled enthusiasm expressed online, which sounds like all the complaining from fans and media outlets has paid off. You're welcome. The SNES Classic hits stores on September 29th. JJ Abrams hasn't finished Awakening the Force. Disney and Lucasfilm have officially announced the new director for Star Wars Episode 9, Star Wars Episode 7 director JJ Abrams. He's come aboard the troubled project after the studio parted ways with original director Colin Trevorrow last week, and along with directing, Abrams will also co-write a new version of the screenplay. Disagreements over the screenplay are reportedly one of the main reasons why the studio decided to replace Trevorrow, so it's unclear if Abrams will start from scratch or retool what's already been written. It's not a shock that the studio wanted Abrams to return for Episode 9. Episode 7 was obviously a huge hit, and Abrams reportedly had a good working relationship with Lucasfilm president Kathleen Kennedy, who says that she's excited to have him come back and complete the new trilogy. Abrams was rumored to be in talks to helm Episode 9 back in 2015 before the studio went with Trevorrow, and now that Abrams actually is coming back, it makes him only the second director in history to helm more than one Star Wars film. He's also the second director to replace someone on a Star Wars film. Earlier this summer, Disney fired Han Solo movie directors Phil Lord and Chris Miller and replaced them with veteran filmmaker Ron Howard. That film is on track to hit theaters next year. As for Episode 9, it's slated to land in theaters in summer 2019, although we wouldn't be surprised if Abrams gets Disney to push it back. Episode 7 was originally supposed to come out in summer 2015 before Abrams got them to release it 6 months later to give him more time, so he may do the same thing this time around. We'll let you know.
Anything else?
In the meantime, Episode 8, The Last Jedi, hits theaters this December. In other directorial news, we can finally stop wondering if the director of Wonder Woman will be back for a second round. After months of rumors and unconfirmed reports, Warner Bros. And DC have officially announced that Wonder Woman director Patty Jenkins will be back to helm the sequel. The follow-up was greenlit quickly after the smash success of the first film, with star Gal Gadot locked in to return, but it was an open question as to whether or not Jenkins would be back. There are reports that it took this long to get an official announcement because Jenkins and her team were negotiating a larger salary, and although there's no official word on how much she's getting paid to come back, there are rumors that the deal will make her the highest paid female director in history. Bravo! No surprise there, given that Wonder Woman is the highest grossing film ever directed by a woman and exceeded box office expectations to become the highest grossing movie of the summer. It's also worth pointing out that Wonder Woman is the first movie in the new DC universe to receive critical praise and is nowhere near as divisive as Batman vs. Superman or Suicide Squad. Patty Jenkins is already working on the screenplay for Wonder Woman 2 alongside DC Comics Chief Creative Officer Jeff Johns, and the story is expected to see the iconic heroine battle evildoers in the 1980s. Wonder Woman 2 will land in theaters in December 2019.
Cut!
In the meantime, Wonder Woman will next appear in Justice League this November.
Shall we?
Wonder Woman is a great movie, so let's change gears and talk about the making of a bad movie. The first full trailer has arrived for The Disaster Artist, James Franco's new movie about the making of The Room, widely considered to be one of the worst films of all time.
I disagree.
The new movie will depict how The Room's writer, director, and lead actor Tommy Wiseau, played by Franco, self-financed The Room in 2003 as a way to fulfill his dream of becoming a big Hollywood star and all the hilarity that ensued.
I need to show my ass to sell this movie.
The irony is that despite The Room being a complete failure, it actually did propel Wiseau to international fame, or infamy, and now big Hollywood icons are recreating the behind-the-scenes drama. Wiseau's co-star and best friend Greg Sestero is played by James Franco's brother Dave, with Franco's frequent collaborator Seth Rogen playing The Room's script supervisor Sandy Schler. From looking at the trailer, it's obvious that Franco and his team went to great lengths to recreate the look of The Room, although it's unclear just how accurate the film will be with the drama that unfolded behind the scenes, so don't be surprised if some creative liberties are taken. Franco is also known for being more than a little postmodern in the films he directs, so The Disaster Artist will likely tear apart Hollywood culture and movie making in general, alongside The Room itself.
A great idea.
The Disaster Artist screened last night at the Toronto International Film Festival, and it will get a wide release this December, with the film's distributors hoping it will be a major awards contender. Now, here's a scene from The Room.
Hi.
Can I help you?
Yeah, can I have a dozen red roses, please?
Oh, hi, Johnny. I didn't know it was you. Here you go.
That's me. How much is it?
It'll be $18.
Here you go. Keep the change. Hi, doggy.
You're my favorite customer.
Thanks a lot. Bye.
The makers of the sci-fi platformer Grow Home are growing up something new. Ubisoft Reflections, the British developer behind the 2015 game Grow Home and its sequel Grow Up, has announced an all-new game. It's an original IP called Automega and is an online first-person shooter with a unique premise. Players start out each match as small, movable spheres, but can collect more and more spheres as they go, making their characters bigger and bigger until they become massive, towering robots. The bigger you are, the more powerful you'll be, and the winner at the end of each match will be determined not by how many kills you've made, but by how large you've grown yourself. Ubisoft Reflections says that each match will be fast-paced and relentlessly competitive. Automega launches on the PC next week. The insanely successful game PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds is inching closer and closer to completion. This morning, developer Bluehole began rolling out the September update for the popular early access game, giving players several big new features. First of all, they've added a new gun, the semi-automatic marksman rifle known as the Mini 14, along with a new small town location that's been added within the existing Erangel map. The devs have also added a new foggy weather effect that can occur at random times, as well as the usual assortment of visual updates, balancing tweaks, and bug fixes. Here's a bit of bad news. The developers had hoped to include the long-awaited vaulting mechanic in the new update, giving players the ability to finally vault over obstacles, but they decided to push it back until November. They say it's taking them longer than expected to get the game to analyze and detect the geometry of objects so that players can vault over them, so they need more time to get it working properly. These kind of incremental changes and updates are common in early access titles. The game isn't finished yet after all, but what is uncommon for an early access game is to get as big and as popular as quickly as Battlegrounds. The finished version of the game is slated to deploy later this year alongside a rollout on the Xbox One. The developers have hinted that a PS4 version might be coming next year. That's it for today's rundown. Thank you so much for watching. If you'd like to learn more about game design, visit our friends at VFS.edu. We'll be back again tomorrow with a brand new episode for you. In the meantime, watch some of the other content we've been making, and if you dig it, hit subscribe, okay?